You're not under arrest. You can walk out
You
whenever
can leave
feel
whenever
like.
you like.
This is crazy. This is, I'm like in shock. I'm totally in shock.
This is Stephanie Lazarus, an LAPD detective, 25 years on the job. Right now, she's being questioned about a case from over 20 years ago, where her ex-boyfriend's wife was killed. She's the one who killed her. She just doesn't know that investigators already know it too.
Because I know how this stuff works, okay? Don't get me wrong. You're right. I have been doing this a long time. And now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
now I got that sense.
A homicide detective, sitting in the same kind of room she's put dozens of suspects in herself, hearing her own rights read back to her. What you're about to watch is how two detectives got a fellow detective to walk herself into that moment using nothing but a conversation.
I mean, we had a fight, so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
February 24th, 1996, Van Nuys, California. John Ruetten leaves for work around 7:20 that morning. His wife of 3 months, Sherry Rasmussen, 29, a hospital nursing director, is still deciding whether she feels well enough to go in. By midday, a neighbor notices her garage door standing open with no car inside. John calls home, gets no answer, calls her office. Her secretary hasn't seen her either. He calls again and again. Nobody picks up, and the answering machine that's supposed to catch calls when the house is empty was never turned on. When John gets home that morning, there's broken glass along the driveway and the garage is still open. Sherry's silver BMW is gone. Inside, he finds her on the living room floor, barefoot, cold, no pulse. Police arrive at a scene that looks on the surface exactly like a burglary that went wrong. The house is disturbed. A stereo system has been taken. Sherry Rasmussen is dead, shot 3 times, with evidence of a vicious hand-to-hand struggle before the gunfire. Her left forearm has a distinct semicircular wound, a human bite mark driven deep into the skin, made by a person who bit her during that fight with enough force to leave an impression in flesh. Detectives swab the wound. They take the sample. They do everything that 1986 crime scene processing can offer. And then the case goes cold. For 23 years, no one is arrested. John Ruetten remarries. Sherry's family never stops asking what happened. The bite mark swab sits preserved in the evidence archive. And somewhere inside the Los Angeles Police Department, one detective carries on with her career. In 2009, a cold case detective finally runs that old bite mark DNA against a national database. The result doesn't point to a burglar, it points to a cop. Her name is Stephanie Lazarus, and she has no idea what is waiting for her in that room. What makes this case unlike almost anything else on record is what happens next, because detectives make a decision. They're not going to call Stephanie in and tell her she's a suspect. They're going to call her in and pretend they barely know what they're asking, and see what a 26-year detective does when she doesn't realize the room is already closed around her.
I didn't want to bring this up in your squadron. Oh, no, it's fine. I think we're good.
Quarter to let me just turn off. You're gonna bring somebody in, right?
Yeah, well, I can explain the whole thing
That's
too.
fine.
I didn't want to talk about this in the squadron because
that's okay.
I don't know who people are listening.
That's true,
And if
that's
we go to my side, everybody's
Yeah.
always wondering what everybody else
yeah,
is
sure,
doing.
no problem.
Okay, but like we're talking about being busy and stuff, we've been assigned a case that we've been looking at.
Okay.
It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Okay.
Do you know John Ruetten?
John Bruton. John Rutten?
Ruetten.
Oh yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
Gosh, I went to school in, let's see, went to UCLA in 1978 I started, and, met him at school at the dorms.
Mm-hmm. Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's a case we're working on, and it involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we good friends, lived in the dorms for I lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Or- oh, okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated.
Uh-huh. Well, let me see. Let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, what are you guys? Is this something? I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art, and how
Well,
you guys are.
Here's
I mean,
Stephanie, here's the situation. It's basically, we knew that this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe, there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate, and we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on if you go into an interview room or people are in there getting
that's
supplies.
okay. I
And
mean,
so we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality
Okay.
to talk about this, because we thought it might be, something, you're married to someone else, obviously, and so forth, and that you may not want to, talk about these things in that setting where someone, we don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff
I mean,
to start.
that's fine. I mean,
So we did this just as a means to try and speak to you in
Okay,
just
I mean,
a
I
confidential
just-
place where where your business isn't out there for other people in
well, I mean,
your
it's-
division
yeah,
to know
I
about.
mean, God, that's been a million years ago. I mean, what year is it now? 2009. I mean, I graduated in 82. 82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Well, let me ask you. Roughly, how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean, I started school there in 78.
Mhm.
I started UCLA in 1978.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated in 82. I don't even remember what year he graduated, if it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't remember if he was born, let's say I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents, I knew his sister, his brother went to Northridge.
Mhm.
His sister had spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before. I don't.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me, is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't. Geez, I'm trying to think when I met my husband. I met my husband when did I meet Scott? Let's see. I was teaching DARE because I met Scott when I was teaching DARE up in Oregon. But we had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92 maybe, April of 92. It was,
Scott being your husband.
yeah, I'm trying to think. I was teaching DARE. Let's see, what year is this? We'll be married. I got married in 1996. I think I met Scott in 92. Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you hadn't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we got married.
Right.
Geez, I moved to Simi in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly, I probably keep in contact with a few people from the dorms. We all lived on the 10th floor,
Stephanie and John had a long, tangled history going back to the UCLA, on and off for years. Casual enough that neither one called the other a partner, serious enough that it didn't fully end when John met Sherry. In the summer of 1985, months before Sherry is killed, Stephanie is working alongside another LAPD officer, Anita. Stephanie tells her about a boyfriend, a real relationship, she says. Ortega has no reason to doubt it.
Stephanie shared with me that she met her boyfriend, John, at UCLA. Said he was a great guy. I never met him, but I thought they were going to get married.
Not only was Lazarus not dating John in the summer of 1985, he was engaged to Sherry Rasmussen.
Nobody connects this to anything at the time. It's just a colleague's story about her personal life.
Do you remember her first name?
Shelley, Sherry, I don't know, something maybe, like I said, it's been so many years, and
From all the years, as far as you can remember, do you remember ever talking to her? Just
well, I said earlier, I mean, I may have, I may have talked to her.
You mentioned a hospital, maybe. You may have talked to her at a hospital.
Yeah, I may have, I'm thinking back now. You guys are bringing up all these whole memories.
No, it kind of dusts off the cuff.
I mean, geez. I'm thinking that, because, I mean, we would date, he would date other people, I would date other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, at one point, I mean, he may have been dating her, or I don't know, maybe he was married, I don't even remember. And I'm like, why are you calling me if you're either dating her or living with her or married to her? Because I honestly don't remember the time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, come on, knock it off. And now I'm thinking I may have gone to her and say, hey, you know what? Is he dating you? He's bothering me. And so I'm thinking that we had a conversation about that. One or two, maybe. It could have been three. I don't want to say I had 3 conversations with her.
No.
Like at her work, or at their house, or?
No, I'm thinking that he obviously must have told me where she worked. I'm thinking it was a hospital somewhere in L.A. And I could have been. Again, what year was that? Where was I working? I'm trying to think of where. When did you say they got married?
I don't know. I think it was like in '85 or '86 or something like that. We just kind of picked this up. We don't know a lot about it.
I mean, I could have been working in Hollywood. It sounds like if that's where I was working. So I could have said, okay, well, and I went and talked to her, and just said, hey, you know what? If he's dating you, he keeps calling me. Why don't you tell him to knock it off or whatever? And because I probably would have told him to knock it off.
You would have told John.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I would have said, hey, and again.
But you wanted to tell her too. You wanted them both to know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting her called, and I'm faintly remembering when Scott moved in with me in 1993, sometime in '93, because I met Scott in April of '92. I was teaching DARE up in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He moved down. In fact, he may have moved down in '92. 92 or 93. There was the big earthquake. No, when was the big earthquake? No, 94.
94, yeah.
So
Northridge.
I think Scott might have moved into '93, sometime in '93. Excuse me.
Digging further into that history, investigators found exactly how Stephanie learned about Sherry in the first place, at a birthday party she'd thrown for John herself. After the engagement, she and John reportedly slept together again. After that, Sherry's friends describe a pattern. Stephanie showing up at the condo asking John to wax a pair of water skis. Stephanie appearing at Sherry's workplace in full uniform while John wasn't there. And according to a direct witness, Stephanie cornering Sherry and telling her plainly that if she couldn't have John, nobody would. None of that is in the room yet, but almost 30 minutes into this conversation, without being shown a single witness statement, Stephanie brings up a version of it herself.
I mean, you're not sure if you ever been to the house because.
But it's safe to say that would have been the only time, like for something social.
Yeah, if I went there for something social, yeah.
Okay.
I mean.
Because I know you went to talk to her at the hospital regarding this issue with John. To kind of like, hey, what's going to happen here with this thing? But would this ever have followed up to her house when you went to talk to her to say, hey, you know what?
I don't even know that I knew where they lived. That's what I'm saying. If I knew where they lived and I'd been there, if it was for something social, I would. And I can't see how many times I saw her face to face. He lived on Roscoe. Did I ever see her there? I don't know. I mean, I may have seen her at his apartment on Roscoe.
Mm-hmm.
I may have met her there. You know, I mean,
But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
no, I mean, you know, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, hey, pick or something, you know,
Fair.
back
That's
then.
fair.
I can't say that we ever screamed or, you know, I mean, he was a pretty mellow guy, you know, I think I was pretty mellow. I don't think we had some big, huge blow up to say, you know, why we stopped dating or, you know, and I even think that when I was dating him, I was probably, like I said, I was probably going out with other guys and he was probably going out with other girls.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, hey man, it's my man, you know, you leave him alone, you know, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff?
You know,
I mean, would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
well, you know, and maybe that happened. I mean, gosh, you know, it's been so long ago. I mean, that's not ringing a bell.
Mm-hmm.
One was on the crew team, so we all did stuff together. And then I'd say after we all graduated, we went to weddings. You know, I went to weddings.
But Sherry wasn't part of this circle.
No, I don't even know how he met her. I don't even know where. I mean, I don't know where he met her
So
from.
she
I don't
came out
even
from
know.
somewhere.
He told me where he met her from. I mean, he may have told me.
Okay.
You know, that's not ringing a bell. And there was lots. I mean, you know, there was other people that knew other people. You know, that were friends of everybody's. You know. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, one of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the John situation.
I don't know who her friends are,
Yeah.
because again, I don't recall if he did tell me where he met her. I don't know even who these friends are. A problem. Like I said, if I spoke to her, I mean, I'll go on as far as a limb, and I don't even want to say I spoke to her 5 times because that's probably not even true. I can't even remember. Again, did I meet him at her place when he lived on Roscoe for I think quite a while, but I couldn't tell you how long he lived on Roscoe. And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now where they, you know, it may have been back then, but you know, maybe we didn't know back then. I could have met her there. I could have, you know.
But they're,
You know, I don't even know that I met any of their friends. I can't say that. I don't know that that's a true statement.
well, that's what I'm reading is that you guys had problems with each other and words are being exchanged and it's all relating to John.
You know what? I can't say.
You can't say.
No, that doesn't even ring a bell. I mean,
it seemed like, yeah, you would recall something if
I would.
somebody's going off on you, right?
I would think. I mean, I would think.
Yeah, because it's.
But that you know.
Because it seems like your relationship with John was kind of. I mean, you've known each other for a lot of years.
Yeah, it was just kind of. It was like.
But it doesn't seem to me, from what you're telling me.
I mean, we were never engaged. I mean,
Right.
it wasn't like
Yeah.
we were planning to get married. You know, it was like it was. I don't know how to describe it. I mean.
Would you say there wasn't a lot of drama in this relationship?
Oh no, I don't think there was drama.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I mean.
that's why I'm asking, as far as what the friends are saying in regards to this, you know, the problems that they're saying you were having with Sherry. I mean, it seems
You
like
know,
the
that's-
relationship is just going on an even plane.
That just I don't have the recollection of that at all.
No?
No.
And because from what you're telling me is when you guys met at the hospital.
3 different ways of being asked the same question. 3 versions of the same non-answer. Not, that didn't happen, just, she can't say.
Drugs or something. I mean, I think I faintly remember him mentioning something maybe about cocaine.
That she was involved with that?
You know, I don't know that he said she was involved or they thought she was. You know, again, it's been so long. You know, he could have told me the whole story of what happened. And, I mean, like I said, I'm faintly remember either between him or the flyer that there was some kind of a burglary. you know.
Let me ask you, did the detectives ever reach out to you? Anybody
No,
ever?
no one's ever talked to me. I don't think anybody ever talked to me about him.
It seems like back then
you know,
would have been...
well, I'm thinking that I did talk to a detective. God. Well, what division was it?
In Van Nuys?
And where was I working?
1986?
I would have been working in Devonshire. You know, I'm thinking that I did speak to somebody.
Oh, really?
I couldn't tell you who it was.
Because it doesn't
It
say
was
anything.
probably on
That's
the phone.
Okay.
Would have been somebody in regards to this, or just...
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't even know if you said a name, if I would remember it. Because I worked Van Nuys for a while.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I worked,
Detectives patrol?
no, I worked detectives.
Uh-huh.
When did I go to Van Nuys? I worked Devonshire till 88. Then I went to Dare till 92. I worked twice at Van Nuys.
Both as a detective?
Yeah. Sometime in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know before I busted my leg up, I was there in 98, because that year sticks out because I had a really bad leg injury. And I was there prior to that, but I couldn't tell you what year. It was just a few years. I made detective, I think, in 93. So, I was at Van Nuys, and then I went back, and then I had a leg injury, and then they transferred me to Devonshire because I couldn't drive.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't drive very far with my bad leg injury. So, but yeah, I think I talked to somebody.
Would you remember any of the conversation as far as what they were looking for? Or?
Couldn't say. I mean, they may have told me. I said, hey, you know, I went to school with him.
Nothing in this case ever substantiates that. No toxicology, no witness, nothing beyond that one person in the room with a reason to want Sherry's character in question. A little over a half hour into this interview, the conversation drifts somewhere that sounds almost unrelated. Cars, break-ins, things gone missing. It isn't unrelated at all.
Let me ask, when you were seeing John, would you... I take it he would pick you up in his car, you go in her, your car, things of that nature, when you guys would go out?
Well, yeah, I mean...
Do you remember what he drove?
Well, I know at one time he drove either a 240 or 260Z.
Any other cars that stand out in your mind?
I don't know how long he drove that 240 or 260Z for. And the only reason I say that is because I think I may have a picture of it with him in it.
What kind of car did you have back then?
Let's see. What year?
Or are you like one of those young cops that like, oh, I got a paycheck and bought a new car?
Oh, no. I've only had like a few cars in my whole life.
So what'd you have when you came on the job?
Okay, well, my first car was a 68 Chevelle. 68 Chevelle. And then I had a Toyota, some kind of a Toyota hatchback, but I forget what the name of it was.
Like a Corolla or Tercel or something like that.
Tercel.
Yeah.
And then
My
I
dad
had
had
my
one of
truck.
Did you ever have any problems with your cars?
Like what?
Just anything in general, car wrecks, anything stolen?
Yeah. No, my car's never been stolen. Oh, no, crashed, hit and run. I mean, my Tercel was hit and run. Again, I got pictures of the hit and runs. Yeah, I don't think any of my cars had ever been stolen. No. My cars haven't been stolen. Broken into.
None of that, huh?
Oh yeah, my cars have been broken into. You know, but no cars have ever been stolen.
Mm-hmm. How long? Well, tell me about this car getting broken into.
Well, my car has been broken into several times.
Oh, really? Did you ever lose anything, or?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, let's see. I had a gun that was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
I had other stuff that was stolen.
Not your duty gun, was it?
No.
Oh, that's good. Was it ever recovered?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Not that I know of.
Never been notified?
No. Car's been broken into, yeah, several times.
Where did that happen? When your gun was taken?
Mm-hmm. Trying to remember. I'm sure you guys must know. Because my car was broken into in Ventura. I think in Santa Monica. I have relatives that live in Santa Monica and Venice.
Who lives there?
My uncle. Well, I had several uncles. Yeah, could have been Santa Monica, Venice. My car's been broken into in Ventura before.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Is your mom still around, or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your dad?
Yeah, but I don't really have much of a relationship with my dad. So I couldn't tell you where he lives if you want to know.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah, couldn't tell you.
Well, like I said, as we were looking at the case, and we had read the notes as far as from Sherry's friend saying you guys had problems or words, and they got heated. And the reason we're asking you is they had mentioned that an incident at her work had occurred, and they've also told us that an incident at her house occurred.
You know what?
And this is at her house during the period of time that they're married.
That's just not sounding familiar at all. I mean, you know what? That's just not sound. Again, if someone says that I was at her house and I had an incident with her, that just doesn't sound. Was John there? Did John say this happened? Because, and other people were there. I don't recall. I mean, it just doesn't sound, familiar.
And this is an incident where you showed up. You weren't supposed to show up, and things got heated.
At his house?
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound familiar. I mean,
Nothing.
no. It's not sounding familiar.
So
Not at all.
now you're saying not familiar because it's just something you remember, or it's just.
You know what? I'd have to say I don't remember, because I don't remember. That doesn't sound familiar.
I mean, would you remember something like that in your life?
Well, I would think, but
sort of drama involving, the other woman type of thing.
Well,
Did you ever fight with her?
Long before this conversation ever happened, detectives had already pulled her old property records and found something worth building a whole line of questioning around. The gun she's describing is a Smith & Wesson Model 49, a .38 caliber revolver, the same caliber that killed Sherry Rasmussen. And when investigators checked the date on Stephanie's theft report, it wasn't years before the murder. It wasn't years after. She filed the theft report 13 days after Sherry was killed. Nobody ever connected those two documents until now.
Did you ever fight with her?
You mean like we fought?
Yeah. Did you ever duke it out with her?
No, I don't think so. I mean...
You'd remember that, right? That would be pretty...
Yeah, I would think so.
Pretty specific.
Yeah, like I said, I mean,
dramatic.
obviously... it just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, what are they saying? So I fought with her. So now I'm getting the jump, the leap. Excuse me, I haven't eaten. They're saying, okay, I fought with her, so I must have killed her. I mean, come on. I mean, that's, I don't even know who these people are. I can't even say I met any of these people. I mean, it's insane. If it happened, I honestly don't remember it. That's all I can tell you.
But I don't know. Would it be something you would remember? Because I don't know if any other intense incidents in your life that have occurred, I mean, you'd recall those, right? I mean,
Well,
like a use of force at work or a car crash, something you're involved in, you'd be like, yeah, I remember.
you would
'cause
think
it's-
I would remember. I mean, I would think if it was something that crazy. I mean, I can't say. You say, how many fights have you gotten into? You know, in
Yeah.
your life. You know, I mean, a few at work.
Well, fights at work are kind
you
of
know,
different because we've all had uses of force or whatever. But
Well,
I
I
mean,
haven't even had even a lot of those. I mean,
right. But
you know,
if you're actually, you know,
I mean, I played.
like if Dan and I got mad at each other and we threw blows in the squad room, I mean, 20 years later, I would remember it. I mean,
I would
it
think
be
I would
pretty-
remember it, but
pretty unique.
that's what I'm saying. That's not sounding familiar to me at all. I mean,
Well, let me ask you, I mean, throughout your life, you know, would you remember the number of fights you've been involved in? And I don't mean kind of like a bump or something, just a physical fight where everybody's hitting each other, scratching, pulling, you know, whatever.
maybe. I mean, I can't say I've been in a lot. You know, I played sports.
Yeah.
You know, you get into scuffles there, and
Mm-hmm.
And you recall some of those, right? I mean, just
yeah, I can recall some of them.
games get
You know,
intense.
but like I
everybody-
said, you saying this is just not ringing a bell. You know, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, you know, now you're accusing me of this. Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying. You know, do I need to get a lawyer if you're accusing me of
I mean,
this? You know,
You don't have to. I mean, you know,
I'm just-
you're here of your own free will. I mean,
no.
you don't,
I know, but
I mean, you know, you're not under arrest. You can walk out.
you
Whenever
can leave
feel
whenever
like.
you like.
Well,
But-
you know, I'm trying to give you some background of, you know, how I knew him, and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about, you know, and I don't want to, you know, get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
Okay,
Yeah, we understand.
I mean, how would you guys like it if the tables were turned on you?
I understand. No,
No, that's what we're telling you. I mean, you're free to go whenever you want. If this makes you uncomfortable and you want to,
Well, now you're starting to make me uncomfortable.
She's spent 25 years on the other side of rooms exactly like this one. What she doesn't know is how close this case had already come to her once before. In 2005, a cold case analyst named Jennifer Francis went looking for that old bite mark swab and found it missing. She eventually tracked it to a coroner's freezer, still usable after nearly 20 years. Even then, colleagues didn't think it was reason enough to reopen the file. It took 4 more years before a different set of detectives refused to accept that same answer. This is the reframe that keeps her in the chair, and it's worth naming as a technique because it's doing exactly what it's designed to do.
and the burglary thing you're talking about, that is an angle that they looked at. I go, but now we're looking at everything else on the case because nobody was ever arrested on the case.
I don't know that or not.
Okay. Now, what we'd like to do is, obviously, you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, you know, gets done on cases nowadays. You know, if we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe. Because now,
Yeah, because
now
now-
I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
because I know how this stuff works, okay? Don't get me wrong, you're right, I have been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been recording this because now it sounds like, you know, there's, you know, you're selling these people saying I'm fighting with her, and now it sounds like you're trying to, you know, I've been doing this a long time.
yeah.
We know.
Okay? And now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
now
but-
I got that sense.
Well, what it gets to on these cases, and you know it as well as I do, our job is to identify and eliminate
I
suspects.
can't believe this.
So if we ask you to the point to give us a DNA sample, a buccal swab, so we can identify or eliminate you, would you be willing to do that?
Maybe.
Well,
Because I know this,
well, that's where we're at too. I mean, because right now, from looking at the evidence, it's, you know, it's possible we may have some DNA at the location.
that's great.
And we're going to do what we can to try to put this thing together. And your name's in the book. These people are pointing at you for whatever reason.
I don't know why.
And-
That's just crazy. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
The detectives have already done the thing they're pretending to ask permission for. Weeks earlier, a surveillance team followed her and waited for her to throw something away, a cup, a straw, and ran it for DNA without her ever knowing. It came back a match to the bite mark on Sherry's left forearm and to skin cells recovered from underneath her broken fingernails. The swab they're asking for now isn't evidence. It's a formality for a case that's already been solved in every way except the one that matters to her in this room. The conversation appears to end normally. The kind of exit that looks exactly like every other courtesy interview she's probably sat in on herself.
And I guess I'm going to have to contact somebody. So,
That's fair.
I mean, because I know how this stuff works. I
Sure.
mean, I just can't believe it.
I mean, we understand that. I mean, if we were in your position, I mean, we would feel the same way.
I just can't even believe it. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
Well,
That's,
okay.
All right.
well, thanks for giving me the courtesy. I wish I could record it.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Stephanie, take care.
All right.
That's the version of this scene where she walks out the door. It's not what happens. Less than 2 minutes of tape later, the tone in this room is completely different.
This is absolutely crazy.
Have a seat, Stephanie.
This is insane.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Stephanie, you know you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes,
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
yes,
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
This
then.
is crazy.
Okay.
This is I'm like in shock. I'm totally in shock.
Stephanie gets up and walks out of that interview room on her own. In the hallway, with the recorder still running, her own fellow officers are waiting. She's placed under arrest before she makes it out of the building, and when she's brought back into the same room minutes later, it's in handcuffs.
The law, and it's unclear which side of it the suspect in this case is on. She was a 26-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, by all appearances a model cop, yet Stephanie Lazarus now faces murder charges. Prosecutors say that almost 25 years ago she beat and shot the wife of an ex-boyfriend, and that DNA evidence proves it.
Going back to the scene itself, almost nothing about it actually held up as a burglary once someone looked closely. A jewelry box sat untouched in plain view. No other room had been touched at all. A VCR and CD player were stacked neatly by the door, except Sherry's blood was already on top of them, meaning the violence came first and the staging came after. A sliding glass door upstairs had been shot out from outside, but Sherry was killed downstairs. Whoever fired through that window didn't run afterward. They went inside and finished it. Ligature marks on her wrists and a cord at the scene showed she'd been restrained at some point too. A former FBI profiler who testified at trial put it simply, this wasn't a robbery, it was an attempt to build one. This case never went to trial cleanly. Stephanie's defense spent 5 weeks trying to cast doubt on the DNA analysis itself, arguing the sample was too old, too degraded, too easily contaminated after 2 decades in storage to be trusted. It's also worth knowing what happened 3 years after the murder, long before any of this. John and Stephanie briefly got back together on a trip to Hawaii, and before he went, John actually called Detective Mayo to ask if there was anything tying her to his wife's death. Mayo told him there wasn't. A search of Stephanie's home turned up a journal describing how despondent she'd been over losing John.
In Lazarus's journal, she wrote things such as, I saw John Rutten's car. I put a note on it and watched the car for half an hour. I did visit John Rutten, but his girlfriend was over.
I really didn't feel like working. Too stressed out about John. I have a real hard time concentrating these days.
23 years between that obsession and the night it caught up with Sherry, and the FBI profiler's read on it lines up exactly with what prosecutors argued at trial. She let herself in, struck Sherry with a ceramic vase, fired 1 shot, then used a thick piece of fabric to muffle the 2 that followed, recovered later with a burn hole and gunshot residue still on it. Trace evidence from Sherry's body went missing from police files over the years. So did the original interviews with John and Sherry's father. Nobody's ever fully explained why. The county's own DNA put it plainly afterward. Without the DNA, this case likely never gets solved.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Stephanie Eileen Lazarus, guilty of the crime of murder of Sherry Rasmussen in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony.
In March 2012, that jury needed less than a day to convict Stephanie Lazarus of first-degree murder. She was 52. She was sentenced to 27 years to life, eligible for parole in 2034, the year she turned 74. In November 2023, at the parole hearing, she finally admitted to killing Sherry Rasmussen, while telling the board she hadn't gone to that condo planning to do it. Even then, by her own account, what weighed on her wasn't really about Sherry. It was that Sherry's death happened because Sherry had met and married John. Parole decisions on her case have gone back and forth since, and as of the most recent public reporting, she remains in custody at the California Institution for Women in Corona. The gun was never recovered, and the DNA that finally caught her had been sitting in an evidence file the entire time she worked 2 floors above the people who would eventually find it. So what stands out to you most about this case? Is it that a trained detective couldn't even remember her victim's name 23 years later, or that it took a bite mark and not a badge to finally tell the truth about her? Let us know what you think in the comments.